welcome to Sweet Tea and Tacos. I'm Dave.
And I'm Jen.
So it's July and hot where we are. And not only is watermelon a good summer treat, but of course ice cream is what you think of for a summer treat. And
Absolutely.
we've not made a lot of ice cream in our lives, in our cooking.
No.
But we have a friend. It's always good to have a friend that cooks. And so this friend made a mistake of the other day mentioning these cool ice creams that she makes. So we said, well, we got to have you on the show and talk about ice cream. So we have Aunt Erin. Aunt Erin, welcome.
Hi, I'm excited to be here and talk about ice cream.
Well,
Perfect
thank you.
food.
Yeah. So how did you get started making ice cream in the first place?
I just like to get into the kitchen and play. Ice cream is an easy thing to play with for me, and it's really a good place to take different flavors and pull them together, and which is part of what I really like in the cooking process is how do flavors play off of each other, work together, what do you come up with. Plus, ice cream's just perfect, so
It's cool.
there you go.
Yeah. So kind of tell us a little bit about your what kind of ice cream do you like to make? And this is what really piqued my interest when she told me about this. So
The first few times I made ice cream, I started with the basics like vanilla, chocolate.
good place to start.
Those are good. Those are good. And but then I love lemon. Anything lemon.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a cookbook, ice cream book, and I have a delicious ice cream, lemon ice cream in that, and made that several times because I couldn't get past it. I would think, I'll make this next time. No, the lemon. It's this really creamy, subtle. It's perfect.
Yeah.
But it has some more adventurous flavors in there. It's strawberry isn't strawberry. It's roasted strawberry and buttermilk.
Ooh.
So that one's coming up soon. So what I was making when I got in touch with Dave and said, hey, have you guys talked about ice cream? I was working on a sweet corn and raspberry sauce.
Wow.
And, of course, corn is sweet,
Mm-hmm.
just has that really nice sweetness to it and all. So I didn't know how strong it was going to come through in the ice cream, but it was this, it wasn't corn tasting. It just was the perfect sweet level for it. The raspberry gave that nice tangy contrast on it.
Right.
And then the other one I was making was a goat cheese and what did I have with that one? Sour cherries.
Wow.
Sauce.
Oh, that
Yes.
sounds great.
Yes.
Yeah.
So see, taking a sweet, taking the tangy, the tart, contrasting them.
Cool.
Well, cool. And what you said you were going to work on one this weekend.
Like to try the roasted strawberries and buttermilk.
Mm-hmm.
So
Sounds good. So what's the method? So how are you making ice cream?
Right. This is my, I was curious, do you do kind of like with the eggs and you cook it or?
I do not. I've done the egg, the custard base a few times. I've recently made a dark chocolate, incredibly rich, delicious, using the eggs. But the method I usually use uses cream cheese instead of eggs as the fat carrier in there.
Yeah, kind of a binder.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly. And it's a little bit easier. That's not why I landed on it. I just like the flavor I get and the texture where everything lands with that process.
Right.
It also involves using some cornstarch in the process as a thickener for it. And they're really, those are good ways to work with the flavor. Also, it plays into the freezing point of your ice cream, which is how you end up with soft ice cream instead of icy ice cream.
Okay.
And then I think it works better for the types of flavors I like to play with also.
Gotcha. So tell me about, you were saying to me one time you were really you have played with the sugar ratios and all of this, and explain to us what that difference is. What makes that difference between the hard ice cream and the soft ice cream?
So ice cream is basically four things. It's your sugar, it's your ice, it's your fat, and it's air. And you want your proportions of all of those to be right. And you need to use your dairy, which is part of the fat, but it also has a lot of water in it. You need something in there that has a lower freezing point than the water, so that the water doesn't freeze as ice.
Okay.
Gotcha.
And that's about as much science as I know. But so then the sugar is also a factor in that, and so keeping these ratios. For example, if you use a fruit in there that has a lot of water content with it, you'll want to decrease the amount of sugar to balance out with the fruit. Or if you use some honey in the flavor, cut back on your sugar.
Okay.
And all
Gotcha.
to balance all
So
of
the
that.
higher fat, lower water content.
Yes.
So if you've got, so you're using a fat like a cream cheese that doesn't have a lot of water content, that helps make it, now that makes it softer, right?
That helps, and that gives a binder for the flavors also,
Mhm.
and helps with making it softer.
Okay, cool. So kind of what do you use, a hand churn, a big one? What do you kind of ice cream maker are you churning them or not?
I'm churning them. I have a simple electric ice cream maker. Only problem with it is that the canister isn't big enough.
Yeah.
But it works.
We used to have one of those, and
Yeah.
I have to say we didn't end up using it much. And
Right.
I think it just stopped working or something. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's a small amount. You know?
Yes, that's the hardest part with it.
Yeah.
I'm seriously considering getting another canister.
Yeah.
So I can
Make two at a time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, do you churn all
So-
your ice cream, or do you some without churning?
I have done a few without churning.
Yeah.
Sometimes just out of impatience.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's like,
Just-
I think it's creamy enough. I can eat it now.
Yeah.
And I've made a sorbet one time
Mhm.
that
Mhm.
just was right where it needed to be after the chilling time in the
Mhm.
freezer and all. And I took it out. I was like, I don't need to do anything more to this. And
Yeah.
it was perfect and all.
Okay.
So
kind of how are you mixing it? Kind of talk to us through the process of how are you hand mixing using a mixer or what?
So start off by whisking the cream cheese with a little sea salt,
Okay.
and then the salt also acts. It's just like putting salt on the road.
Right.
That's part of the bringing your freeze point down too.
Mm-hmm.
And all. So you have that in a bowl. I have a cornstarch slurry mixed. It's mixed with a little bit of the milk. That's on
Mhm.
hold.
Okay.
Bring the creams and sugar and a little corn syrup to a boil.
Mm-hmm.
Then add the slurry in, bring it back to a boil again, let it thicken for a minute or so, and then you just pour that onto the cream cheese and hand whisk that part of it,
Mhm.
and until it's nice and smooth. Put it
Mhm.
into an ice bath and let it chill.
Okay.
Okay.
And,
And then from there you go into your ice cream machine.
yes,
Okay. Well, cool.
and if it depends on what flavor, what I'm adding in. For example, the cherries, the raspberries,
Right.
those are layered in when I take it out of the freezer, out
Okay.
of the canister.
Yeah.
It's not in that process.
Gotcha.
Something like a chocolate syrup or some small chocolate chips might pour in toward the end of the mixing process.
Right.
So
Okay.
it just depends on the flavor on when the extras get added in.
Yeah.
So the goat cheese one, how does that one? Where do you add the goat cheese? Is it in place of something else or?
No, it was not in place of something else. I think that one did cut back a little bit on the. Trying to remember, maybe not quite as much of the cream cheese, and I mixed it with the cream cheese.
Yeah.
So the milk and cream were added to that mixture.
Okay. Well, cool.
Yeah,
So we made it a little bit with that, and we did it with that ice cream maker we did a few in that when we had that, but we really haven't done much ice cream. I think a lot of people maybe are intimidated by ice cream.
Oh, no.
I think it takes forever. How long
Right.
does it
No,
take
no.
you to make a batch of ice cream?
It takes maybe 45 minutes to get it to the point that I'm putting it in for the ice bath.
Mm-hmm.
And
Okay.
but I'm a slow worker in the kitchen. I'm very deliberate with things.
Yeah.
And so I'm sort of slow, and I watch that. I don't want it to overboil,
Mm-hmm.
and
Sure.
also just watching that whole process, and maybe 45 minutes. Then the ice bath, which what I've actually started doing instead of an ice bath is putting it in the container in the freezer, and I actually let it get to the point where it's just beginning to thicken, not just chilled, but actually beginning to thicken, and then
Okay.
put that into the ice cream machine, and
Right.
that gets really nice texture. Yes.
Okay, well, cool.
Yeah, so I like the way you're doing it with the cream cheese because when you do the custard style, you're always risking the whole thing about the scrambled
Yes.
eggs,
Yes.
and that's kind of a difficult,
Yes.
I guess, procedure to.
And then just having the raw egg not cooked enough. It's
Well,
very,
yeah, I mean, if
go
you do
back
the
and forth.
custard, you're gonna get the egg cooked,
Right.
but you risk the
It
scrambled, and
is.
then some people do just put
Just
raw
raw
egg
egg
in
in it,
theirs,
yeah.
but I've never
Mhm.
been a fan
No.
of that because I don't want to risk any kind of salmonella
Mm-hmm.
or
No.
anything. So yeah.
Okay. Well, cool. So ice cream. That's about all I had. Yeah. No. So
So what can you do with ice cream after? Or do
There you
get
go.
cups
That's
of
right.
ice cream? Okay.
Exactly.
all right.
So
How do you serve it?
so usually at home by myself, I'm just taking it out of the container. I do take it out of the container.
Mhm.
okay, that's a start.
So get it into a bowl, and I usually just do it pretty simply with like that. Sometimes I'll add a little whipped cream on top to
Mhm,
have
mhm.
a little bit of extra and all. I don't do
Mhm.
a lot of ice cream desserts, making ice cream sandwiches
Right.
or sundaes or
Mhm,
something really
mhm.
elaborate like you might get at La Durée or a place like that. But I look at them and think, no, the ice cream is good.
Yeah, it was just, that's
The
good.
ice cream is
it's,
good
it's
like
a good
this.
carrier on and
Um,
on.
But-
Stand alone.
But what I do have that
Mhm.
it really does make a difference, there are ice cream spoons. Did you know they're ice cream spoons?
No.
They're small. They're about the size of demitasse,
Okay.
spoons.
Mm.
and
Okay.
they look like a tiny little shovel. And it actually the
Ah,
way
neat.
It's got a flat edge.
Mhm.
Okay,
Cool.
and the way it scoops it up and all, and it
makes a difference.
Yes.
Neat.
Yes.
Yeah, the ice cream scoop's an important part. We've kind of been through some ice cream scoops.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
and one of the ones that we sold at the retailer where David and I worked, actually in the handle of it, it had some kind of like it's almost like an antifreeze
Yes.
kind of chemical in there, so
Mhm.
that when you scoop, it would immediately kind of start to soften that ice cream. I don't think we've ever owned one of those. But
No.
I think we, I mean, it's a neat concept,
Right.
but we've certainly
We-
been through some ice cream scoops.
I do have one of those. I need to get it out. I haven't used it in a while.
Yeah.
I usually just use a spoon.
Gotcha.
Right. Well,
And-
you're making a softer
So-
ice cream.
That's,
scoop.
You
that's
are,
true.
right,
That's
so it's
true.
not-
I don't need that.
Yeah, it's
Yes.
not going to be
Okay.
rock hard
So-
or anything.
And right now, I'm also testing different containers to store the ice cream in.
Mhm,
mhm.
I haven't landed on something that I'm 100% happy with.
So, what are you looking for in the storage of it?
Something that really keeps it at about the right temperature that you want it,
Mm-hmm.
and all
Mhm.
that, but doesn't get too hard either.
Gotcha. Okay.
And so I've tried little disposable paper bowls.
Mhm.
Sometimes I have actually just put it covered in a mixing bowl
Mhm,
in there.
mhm.
I've put it in plastic containers. Red plastic is actually really good for this,
Okay.
but I'm not wild about using plastic.
Right.
Yeah.
So-
yeah, there could be different
Yes.
aspects of that.
But glass probably would not be
No.
anything to do because I would imagine you'd risk that cracking in the freezer.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
So-
yeah. Okay.
That's
So, where are you headed with ice cream? Do you have a goal in your ice cream where you're headed?
I am ready to start developing some of my own flavors.
There you go.
And
Good.
I'm wanting to play, I don't know why, but wanting to play with some herb flavors, like some
Mhm,
basil,
Sounds great.
Yeah.
some rosemary, try out some something with lavender. So do some things like that. And the base that I'm using, what I described earlier with
Mhm.
the cream cheese and all, I'm really happy with that base, and it's a good starting point. And then from there, it's just getting in and trying proportions,
Mhm.
what works with what.
Mm-hmm.
As artists, this is something I read recently, and both of you are artists, and you will appreciate this take on it. And to think of a color wheel and also in
Mhm.
putting
Mhm.
your flavors together.
Okay.
And for example, with the raspberry or blackberry sauce that I did with the sweet corn, of course, your
Mhm.
purple and yellow are complementary colors.
Mm.
Ah,
Yes, and or what are your colors that are next to each other in the color
Okay.
wheel?
Yeah.
And doing like that, and that a lot of times if you're working that with that thought process, you'll end up with flavors that work well together.
Cool.
I had never
Very
I know,
Thought of
I
that.
know.
Yeah,
It's
that's
pretty amazing,
awesome.
isn't it?
All right, we're gonna try that.
Yeah.
We're gonna try that. That's a great idea. Now, as a little aside, Aunt Erin is a Francophile,
Francophile.
and one of the things you also make is crepes.
Yes.
So, have you done
Yes.
crepes and ice cream?
Yes, I have.
Okay,
Oh,
I knew
yes,
that
I
we were
have.
coming. I knew we were okay.
Yes. Crepes, ice cream, a little chocolate sauce on top.
Mhm.
Yes.
So, how did you get started making crepes?
Well, if you're a Francophile, you make crepes. No,
Yeah.
I won't say that. That's one of those things that
Yeah.
they're actually pretty easy to do. And
See, they're intimidating. Just the thought of them are intimidating.
Well,
oh no,
I will
No.
say, I saw Jacques Pepin
Mhm.
the other day. I follow him on social media, and he showed how to make crepes, and I was amazed at how easy it looked. Now, he's Jacques Pepin, but it was just several ingredients, and
Yes.
it took like no
It's-
time at all, and it was just a regular, garden variety nonstick pan, not even a crepe pan.
yes, be prepared to throw the first one away.
And
Yeah.
that's what he said. He said traditionally the first one goes to the dog or something like that.
Yes, and that's won't say that's where mine goes, but no, the first one does not make it.
Yeah, why-
It's
why-
not used.
Why is that?
I don't know if it's because the pan's not quite hot enough, or if you have it just a little bit of butter or oil in there, but maybe it's just a little too much, and so that
Mhm.
first one absorbs some of it.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Sometimes
I
I-
noticed that
I
with like
overpour
when
it.
we make waffles.
Yeah.
The first waffle is never that stellar, and then
Mm.
from then on, it goes smoother or something.
So,
Well, tell us a little bit about your crepe. How you do crepes?
crepes, that's flour, milk, egg, mix it up, let the batter sit in the refrigerator for 12 hours overnight.
Okay.
Hit up, I have actually done it with running 2 pans at a time.
Mm.
Have them set up, get them really hot. You pour the batter in. It's a quick flick to get the batter all the way around there, and cook it for about a minute
Mm.
until it starts to brown. The edges will curl up a little bit. That's when you flip it. I count to 20, take it off really fast.
So, how much are you measuring out your batter?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
How much batter are you?
I actually do that based on the pan
Okay.
that I'm
Okay,
using,
yeah.
and also that it's just a thin coat. It actually,
Right.
when you pour it in, it doesn't fully cover it. I have to tilt the pan
Yeah.
around to get it to
Mm.
fully cover.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And all, but I have a couple of different pans that I use. So.
Okay.
And the method I saw that Jacques Pepin was doing, he said put the batter in sort of like the corner. Don't put it in the middle because then it'll go out like spokes on a wheel.
Okay.
But he said put it kind of in the corner and then kind of
Oh, that makes sense.
spin the pan around
Yes.
or something.
Okay.
I mean, it looked like it was easy. I don't know.
So this is a great conversation because Tuesday is Bastille Day.
Ah,
Yes, I'm planning on
okay.
making crepes then.
Cool.
So
Alright.
I will definitely give that a try,
Yeah.
that part of it, because I put it in the middle
Mm.
and let
Okay.
it spread out.
And then, what do you use to flip it? How do you flip it?
I have a large spatula.
Just large
Mhm.
spatula.
Turn it over with.
Okay.
I have looked at it a couple of times and thought, I've got it. I can do this.
Yeah.
Just flipping it in the, but I haven't gotten
Yeah.
it right.
All right. And so, do you use a nonstick pan?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
I do.
Yeah. Yeah.
To
I
think
can see
about it.
where that would definitely
That would.
make it
Yeah, I was
easier.
going to say that
Yes.
would. Yeah. Well, we may have to try them eventually.
Yeah.
They're really, really not difficult.
Okay.
Yes.
Cool.
Well, crepes and ice cream, and now I'm hungry. So yeah, that's the
Yes.
goal of the show is to make you hungry.
And that's the great thing with crepes because you can have them for your meal and dessert.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
Yeah, sweet and savory, or
Yes.
savory and sweet.
Savory and sweet. All right. There was a restaurant around here that had a really great, for a short time, one of those crepe cakes. It was like banana and carrot.
That's what I want to do sometime.
Yeah.
I haven't made one of those.
That sounds
I've
like
made enough crepes at one time to make one. But
Mm-hmm.
haven't
Well,
made one.
that's Sweet Teen Tacos for this week. Ice cream and crepes with our friend Aunt Erin. Thank you for joining us. Leave us a review. Check us out on Facebook. Send us an email and let us know what you'd like us to talk about next. Or if you have a question for Aunt Erin or anyone we've had on our show. And we appreciate you listening. I'm Dave.
And I'm Jen.
And
Au revoir.
au revoir.